Did you hear that sound on Sunday night?
What? No, I don't think so.
That everyone's talking about?
No, I didn't hear it.
You know what it was? I found out it was a giant sinkhole.
Just
swallowing the Brewers.
Sucking the Brewers into the abyss.
Sucking the Brewers right into the abyss.
Well,
they're terrible.
They're really bad, and we'll talk about just how bad they are and the injuries added to the insults. And the Bucks in a hole against the Bulls.
They're in that same sinkhole as the Brewers, I think, yes.
I see you've brought your finest Craig
Janesville
baseball
Craig.
Attire, just hoping to
unbeaten the Cougars.
Just hoping to make the West Side
Cougars
real happy today.
Hey, the West Side. Well, send me a shirt.
And the Jets are back home this weekend.
Jets
so we'll
are
talk
home
about
against
them
the Sioux.
too. It's all that and more coming up, along with these gigantic new microphones on Extra Points. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the old Janesville Gazette studio here for this week's episode of Extra Points. This is
a big microphone.
This is blue and white Craig boasting Parker grad John Barry.
Yes. The undefeated Cougars. I'm on the bandwagon.
He went to school on the West Side, graduated from the West Side, but is rocking the Craig baseball attire today. We'll talk about where they're ranked in the latest polls coming up. But we've got some other stuff to get to first. This is Extra Points. This is our weekly show where we just banter about Wisconsin and Janesville sports in general.
We can do a lot of bantering right now.
And, let's just get right into the Brewers.
Okay.
Because they have never been worse at the start of a season than they are right now. As we record this, they're 2-11 through 13 games, and it's been...
They're not even a major league team right now.
It's been as bad as that record would have.
Yes, it has. I think they're last in every single category: batting, pitching, fielding. There's nothing they're good at right now. And if you watched Monday night's game, which I got a chance to catch a little of it until Peralta threw a 3-run dinger in about the 5th inning or 6th inning, I turned it off and watched the Bucks, but there's nobody there. I mean, and that's not going to sit well with the owner. And, some changes got to be coming up on the horizon because, let's face it, at 2-11, 3 starters on the DL now with Lucroy, Jeanette, and Carlos. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel right now, and I got a feeling Reneke's going to be gone, and that might be the start of the chopping block.
Kind of a goofy situation because they gave him the option. They already took his option for next year and gave it to him before the season started, and now they're... I mean, unless something changes drastically here in the next couple of days, which seems unlikely, you're right. I mean, people are already talking about it in the national media about him maybe being on the way out.
Where did it go wrong? I mean, the end of spring training, they were hitting the ball well, scoring runs. I know it's a lot different in Arizona than it is once you get back into the big leagues and get into those major league ballparks. But still, why has everything gone down so fast? Are they pressing? Are they trying too hard? Are guys, trying to do too much at one at bat and trying to get that 3-run homer and instead of just putting the ball in play? I don't know. I mean, they just look out of sorts when you watch them play. I mean, last night was a great example. They got 2 hits off of some guy I've never heard of.
De Sclafani.
Yeah, I don't even know who the guy is. He came from Miami. I don't remember him.
I think it's just they picked up right where they left off last year, and that was something they didn't do in the offseason. They didn't really make any changes, and they expected that everybody would just return to the first few months of last season instead of picking up where they left off last season. Well, if you don't change anything, how do you expect anything to be different?
And if you take a look at their roster, really the guys making all the money are the older guys. Ramirez, $12 million, Braun's making a bunch of money. Neil Kotz, they signed for $3 million for a year. K-Rod's getting a big wad of money. Adam Lynn's over 30 years old. All of their veteran players are making big cash. Los and Garza are both making over $10 million a year. I mean, at some point, I'm not sure what they're going to do, if they just have a big sell-off or what, because I don't see these guys, especially Los and Garza, I don't see them turning around. I really don't.
I think they do have to find a way. If this continues and in pretty quick order, they're going to know if there's any chance that it turns around. Just blow the thing up, and you're almost going to have to blow it up and start over.
You're going to have to, because if you go into the rest of the season with that pitching staff and really that anemic lineup, and fans quit coming to Miller Park, if I'm the owner, I'm stepping in and saying, look, this, I'm paying way too much money out of my pocket for these guys, and these fans deserve a better product. And like I said, at some point, the proverbial, what's going to hit the fan, and it may be sooner than later.
Well, yeah, it seems like, I think Ryan Braun said Monday night that maybe they've hit rock bottom, and it's like, if this isn't it, I don't know what is.
And I mean, you're 2-11.
And I think just to put the dagger home was the Jeanette injury. Like, how How do you injure yourself in a shower to the point where you need stitches in your hand?
And what does it say about Pittsburgh's
list?
Locker room if you've got sharp objects jetting out of your locker room, so a guy goes to get some body wash to clean up after not getting on base or having to slide it all? Maybe didn't even need to shower. I don't know. But for whatever reason, I mean, it's just like somebody, I think it was Lucroy said, I've fouled 1 million balls off of my toe, and I break it last night. I mean, that's just kind of where they're at right now, and it's kind of Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong right now for the Brewers is going wrong.
It's like we get one of these injuries across Major League Baseball once a year.
Once
it seems
a year.
Like you get the salad tongs that cut you, or what was the Lucroy? It wasn't Lucroy. The suitcase follies.
Yeah. But, I mean, let's face it. Lucroy and Gomez both out now. That's your 1-2 hitters. I mean, that's a big part of your lineup.
And your leaders.
And Jeanette, Gomez coming off where he finished in the, an all-star starter. Lucroy finished 3rd or 4th in the MVP voting, and Scooter was the guy they counted on to really get rid of the platoon, and that's why they were able to get rid of Ricky Weeks. So you're talking 3 starters, guys that you really counted on are gone. And really, right now, we'll see if anybody picks up the slack, but I don't see much help on the horizon. I really don't.
I'm going to go Sunday because it's Willie Peralta bobblehead day.
Have fun. He's probably pitching, too.
One of my friend's birthdays, but other than that, I would have no real interest in figuring out a time to go back again.
Yeah, and it's like I say, I mean, they've got a long homestand. They're playing all NL Central teams. They're 2-11, and I think I read last year at this time they were 11-2. So that tells you a 9-game difference after only 13 games that's a big difference. And in their division, as good as it is, and the Cubs are playing pretty well.
Bringing up all their stud.
The
youngsters.
Pirates are going to be good. The Cardinals are the Cardinals. You fall out of it too much too early, and you're done. I mean, you can pack it in at that point.
Kind of pretty sad.
It is sad. It's.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
I don't even know what to look forward to now. I guess Badger football, I guess.
Well, what do you do all summer? You're supposed to turn the radio on.
Fantasy baseball.
Listen to Uke and
DraftKings.
Grill out.
I don't know. Matt LePay. At least we get Matt LePay for a month, so that's okay, I guess, if I can stomach an inning or two of watching the Brewers right now.
Good luck with that. Like you said, turn to the Bucks the other night. Yeah. That's how bad it got. I don't ever watch the NBA.
Well, and speaking of the Bucks, if you watched the first quarter last night of the Bucks-Bulls game, you will never watch the NBA again because at one point, with 4 minutes left in the first quarter, I think it was 8-5 was the score, and ended up the Bulls scored 11 points, which is an NBA low since the inception of the shot clock. And yet the Bucks are only ahead by like 5 points after the first quarter. I mean, it was just atrocious. It set basketball back 50 years.
Well, the Bulls got to 90 eventually.
They did get to 90, but Jimmy Butler did them in at the end. But let's face it, the Bulls are a better team. But one thing I will take away from it, whatever they're paying Joakim Noah is way too much money. Yeah, he had 15, 16 rebounds, but he can't score. He looks like he's uncoordinated, and I know they're paying him a lot of money, and they've got his contract for another 2 years, and the Bulls got to make a big decision there because that guy to me is worthless.
How do you really feel about it?
I don't like the guy anyway.
What about the Bucks? I don't think there were a lot of people that expected them to really contend in this series. It was kind of about getting their feet wet in the playoffs, and that's pretty much what they've gotten through in these first 2 games. And Game 3 will be Thursday night back at the Bradley Center. But at least they're getting some experience in these kinds of games. I think is really what it all comes down to.
I'm being selfish here. I'm hoping. Let's face it, if you watch the Bucks right now, the thing they miss is consistent perimeter shooting. They don't have that, so they've got to force it in the paint. And against bigger teams, it just gets swatted back. Henson had about 3 or 4 shots swatted back. What would be ideal for the Bucks? You get Parker back next year. And how about if either Decker or Kaminsky was their draft pick at number 17?
It seems feasible.
That would certainly put fans in the new arena, and if nothing else, it would give them some shooters that you would hope. Decker would probably be a good fit because, let's face it, in the NBA, it's a different game. And Kaminsky as well. I mean, I know that's wishful thinking, but you never know. 17, but they're still probably 2 years away yet. They've got some serious deficiencies yet, especially offensively. Jason Kidd has said as much that we're just not a good offensive team right now. And if you watched it last night, you understand why, because they just have a really hard time creating shots.
I do like that they're playing the Bulls, though, because you get this regional rivalry, and I know people always say you got to win some games for it to be a rivalry, and the Bulls are on a tear against them right now. But we saw 7 technicals in Game 2.
Yeah,
so these teams don't like each other.
Right.
These seems like 2 teams that are both going to be in the Eastern Conference playoff mix for a few years here.
Yeah.
Whether they're contenders or not, I think they're both both are going to be in the mix, so they're probably going to play each other in the playoffs again. And it's fun to have that 90 minutes away rivalry.
And somebody made that point last night. I don't remember who it was. It was Steve Smith or whomever was doing the color commentary said, it's playoffs. Let them play. There was a rebound that they were struggling for, and it went out of bounds, and both guys kind of fell out of bounds, and they said, there's no foul there. There's no, intent to do any harm. It's just playoff basketball. They both want it, and it took them about 2 or 3 minutes to look at the replay, and they said, just let them play. It's the playoffs. These two teams are close. They obviously don't like each other, and it should be a good, I would think, 5-game series. I think the Bucks will win one at home.
I think they might win one.
I think
it would be good for them to win one.
It would be. I think they'll win. If they don't win Thursday, they'll win that second game at home. But I got a feeling they can come out. They could win Thursday night. Derrick Rose, as good as he was in Game 1, was pretty much a non-factor. I mean, I think if you watch the Bulls last night, you kind of think it's Jimmy Butler's team.
Yeah.
He's had back-to-back huge games. So
the ejection or disqualification, I guess. I don't know if you call it
Zaza.
ejection. It was probably the weakest one you've ever seen in the
NBA. Only because
two really soft, but both technicals were really soft technicals. Yeah. So I was like, well, if you get kicked out of a game for those two, something isn't right here.
And there lies the problem is, we don't have a lot of depth in the front court either. I mean, I don't think Miles Plumlee got off the bench last night. There were a couple other guys that didn't see any action, and the Bucks just need a healthy Jabari, obviously, and then, whether the owners got a little bit of money, maybe bring in a decent free agent, somebody that can shoot. They need some shooters on that team right now.
Let's transition over to the high school game here. You're getting ready to go down to see Craig
the undefeated Craig
Prairie.
Cougars against the 3-time defending state champion Cardinals, who
probably the biggest game of the year here. I guess we'll see Parker and Craig again later on in the night game, which could be interesting as well. But unfortunately, we'll have taped this before this game goes on, but we'll try to fill you in on. Obviously, it'll be on GazetteXtra.com what happened in the game, and we can put it along with our video here. But the new rankings came out from the Coaches Association today, and Craig's 4th and Sun Prairie's 5th. So. Might be these might be the two teams that are duking it out for the conference title.
Sun Prairie coming off their first loss, which was kind of a very sketchy 14-5 loss to Middleton, which I don't think anyone saw coming. And I think more than anything, that might tell you that puts the maybe the fact that Sun Prairie's depth pitching-wise isn't what it's been in the past, because to give up 14 runs for a team like Sun Prairie is a lot. For the Cougars, really looking forward to seeing Alex Morrow. He is, I think, turned into a solid ace for them, and a kid that they've had clocked anywhere between 84 and 85 on the guns. And for high school at this time of the year, that's pretty good. And he's been very good his first couple of outings, and certainly tonight against Sun Prairie, who is going to put the ball in play. We'll see if he's the real deal or not.
And we get to see if Parker is going to put himself back in the mix, because they get Sun Prairie right away again on Thursday. So, this is a big week for Janesville's baseball teams, just to kind of see exactly where they're at. It's still early in the season, but you get a real feel for if they're going to be in the mix.
Helps
or
Parker
not.
Is if you looked at the schedule, everybody that Craig plays, Parker's playing immediately after.
Right.
And I think for them, in this case, it's an added bonus, because Sun Prairie's got to throw their best against Craig, because they're behind him in the standings, which gives Parker the chance to save Hunter Van Zant, who, this year especially, Logan Coulter's been as good as Hunter Van Zant, but he's still the reigning player of the year. They can save Hunter Van Zant for Sun Prairie on Thursday, whereas Sun Prairie's got to throw their ace tonight and come at Parker with their number 2.
Kind of interesting how that schedule works.
It is.
And then in Division 2, we've got the usual Rock Valley
usual
showdowns,
suspects. Yep.
Jefferson 4th, Edgerton 5th, Turner 10th. Bigfoot not quite in that mix still. They were in the preseason, and they're still a pretty good team.
Still pretty, yeah.
But none of these teams have really done anything where you've gone, they weren't what we thought they were going to be. In the games that they've lost, they've been pretty close for the most part.
I think Turner and Jefferson was the only game that really stands out as far as.
Yeah, and it was, it was kind of a weird day.
It just got away from them, I think.
Yeah. And it wasn't a very nice day either. Kind of blustery like it is
today.
Like today. So, yeah. But I think it's going to be fun to watch those teams kind of duke it out and see who's there in the Division II mix as this thing rolls along.
And the sad part is those teams all see each other in sectional, so you don't get whatever happens during the year. But Jefferson and Edgerton certainly are. Jefferson is kind of gotten to be like Monroe used to be in football. They just reload every year and bring in more kids. And Edgerton with Mike Gregory, I know, has one loss on the season. That was to De La Salle out of Minnesota.
Right.
So they're, they've taken care of business in state and in conference. And Mike's, felt coming into the year that they'd have a pretty good team, and they've backed it up thus far. But a lot of season left, and certainly with those two teams coming up playing each other, we'll see who gets the early jump, so to speak, in the Rock North.
Haven't seen the new softball rankings yet. I think they might come out tomorrow. But last week, Division II, Delavan Darien was 4th, Turner 5th. Other teams that are kind of around here, 3rd was McFarland and 10th Monroe. And those are the 4 teams that in Division II that are really kind of the ones we're keeping an eye on.
And I think Turner and McFarland play this week, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think you put that at prep spot that they have a game coming up this week. So, until somebody beats Kelsey Packard, I'll put my money on her. I mean, she throws so hard, and she's not all Turner has. Turner has a good team. That lineup is solid, and if McFarland does beat him, it's going to be low scoring, 1-0, 2-0, and it might come down to walks or whatever it might be. But you look at the broad scheme of softball, and Janesville Craig, big doubleheader on Saturday at Middleton.
Right.
You come out of there with a sweep, and you're right on the heels of Verona, which you haven't played yet, so you get a chance to play them at some point. So softball kind of getting to that midway point, and I think teams are starting to distance themselves from the rest of the leagues, whichever ones they might be in.
The other thing I'm looking forward to, and I don't think it's this week, but it's coming up soon, is Delavan Darien's going to play Milton, and then you see you're going up against a Division I team that's pretty good team.
That is good, and that's a good gauge of exactly what's going on. We saw that with Turner playing Janesville Craig.
Yep. So that gives you a little bit more of an idea of where these teams stand. So we'll keep an eye on them. Still kind of early, but
it is in some sports. Other sports, like I say, I think Craig plays Beloit in softball next week, so they've kind of hit that halfway point of the season. They've got their doubleheaders this Saturday.
Yep. And they're back again this weekend. I got the sticks rolling here.
Suey.
The Janesville Jets with their first ever playoff series win took out the Michigan Warriors in a sweep, and now they get the Sioux Eagles, which kind of become their rivals
kind
a little bit.
Nemesis,
they kind of get chippy a little bit with that team, and that opens up a best-of-5 series Friday and Saturday night at the Ice Arena, and we'll see if they can just keep things rolling.
Jurassic Park, what's he at, about 27 straight wins?
Matt Jurassic, yeah.
He may never lose again.
27 straight wins as a goalie, and it's just nuts. Like Friday night, he gave up 4 goals. It was the first time since October that he did that, and they still win. So they have found a way. I don't think that series they played the best hockey that they've played this year. I think some of them had some playoff jitters and such, and maybe they got that out of the way. But they're going to probably have to play better here moving forward if they want to get all the way to the Robertson Cup.
And like I say, we've said this before, get out and watch them play. People in the area, if you're looking for something to do on Friday or Saturday night, head down to the Janesville Ice Arena. It's good family entertainment at a good price, and you're going to see good hockey.
I saw on Twitter today they were saying they had pretty cheap tickets, 99-cent beers.
Yeah, it's a great gig, and it's good family entertainment. It's fun to watch because it's up and down the ice, and it's kids that are playing with a purpose. A lot of those kids, this is their chance to show off because there'll be scouts there. This is their chance to show off, and hopefully someday they could be the next Ross Maurman, a kid that goes from the Jets or one of those NAHL teams or USHL teams onto Division I and have some success like he did.
Should be another fun weekend there, and we'll let you know where that series stands when we...
It'll be 2-0. 2-0 Jets after Saturday.
All right.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
We'll probably reconvene right here next week and let you know where that stands.
Right.
Let us know what you think of the show. Leave us a review on YouTube or iTunes, or send it to us at sports@gazetteextra.com. And we'll be back here next week.
Hopefully it's nicer next week. It's cold right now.
The sun to come back out would be good. Thanks to our producer, Andrew Ryder, and Kevin McLeod for his fine taste of music.
Yes. And take care, everybody. And I don't even know who to go root for.
Chorizo.
Go Snappers. How's that? I don't know. They're hot.
You're losing it, Bear.
I am losing it.
See you next week, everybody.
Take care.